I have just over 400 subscribers on this channel. I am very grateful, but the process to get to this point was very slow. And after a year of posting every week and then moving to twice a week, it took me probably 6 months longer than it should have that maybe what I was doing wasn't really working. I was making leadership videos, useful content, tips from nearly 2 decades worth of experience in leadership, but probably exactly what you could have got from a free workshop at your workplace or a colleague or your boss, not necessarily something that you needed to go digging around on YouTube to find. So at the end of November in 2025, I stopped posting videos on YouTube. I reviewed what I was doing and I have done a complete pivot. I have spent the last few months building something that hopefully is way more useful for you. But if you're here for leadership, might not be quite what you were looking for. I'm Nikki. I have nearly 2 decades worth of experience in senior leadership roles. I have 2 little kids. I live in New Zealand. I've done a Masters of Entrepreneurship and I get up at 4:40 a.m. just about every morning, not because I want to, but because that's pretty much the only time I can fit in exercise. Why is that relevant? Well, it's kind of what this is all about. Fitting in, building and growing a business while you have a full-time job, a busy life, a family, whatever else is going on. Nearly a year ago, I had a point where a lot of people get to. I enjoyed my job, but I wanted autonomy. And after nearly 2 decades in leadership, running large teams, navigating office politics, working under pressure, and not really having the flexibility that I really wanted, I had a growing feeling that I was a bit stuck and I wanted to grow something of my own. I'd done a Masters of Entrepreneurship years previously, and despite starting a few things and abandoning them, I hadn't really made something substantial from that. I wanted to build something of my own, but I wasn't going to quit until I'd figured it out. I've got kids, I've got bills. I don't really have the ability to just chuck it all in and hope that it works. And I've got a husband who I suspect thinks that I have a lot of ideas that maybe haven't quite worked out. So, not full confidence there that I could just embrace and go off on my own. So I started building my business quietly in the space that I had, in the weekends, after work. And at the start of this year, I really carved out the time, about 15 hours a week, just building my business. And here's the thing I kept running into. A whole lot of business advice that assumes that you've already got all the time in the world to build it. You've already quit your job, written from somebody who's already taken the leap years previously, already built the experience and the growth. I have 30 minutes before work if I'm super organized getting those ratbag kids out the door. I have 2 hours after the kids are in bed at night, provided they actually stay in their beds, and some hours in the weekend broken up by family life and just trying to be, a good parent. And I started building something that was designed for me, someone in a busy full-time job with a busy full-time life. The framework I've been working from is called From Job to CEO. 5 stages. First one is discover, validate, build, sustain, and then accelerate. Starting from the very start, as in, I want to start my own business, but I have no idea what I would do, all the way to, I have consistent revenue and an exit plan. Most people who want to start a business want to skip from, I have an idea, to, I'm going to accelerate this and make lots and lots of money. And will skip stages 2 and 3 completely, which is often why 50% of businesses fail. So here's the part I'm sharing. Rather than executing from somebody else's perfect strategy, I've been running my business with a series of experiments. Every 30 days, I'm testing something specific, tracking every number, and then I'm sharing the results free and publicly in my Skool community called From Job to CEO, the experiment. I'm sharing what's working, what's not, the data, the reality. Experiment 1 started in April 2026. The experiment was to build the Skool community from scratch. I had 0 members. By the end of April, or the 30 days, I had built it to 76 members. During the 30 days in the community, I documented the build, sharing what I was experimenting to grow my membership. The goal was 100 members in 30 days, which I didn't quite make. And, that was publicly a fail too. But I was also hosting my first bundle in April, at the same time as growing a new Skool community. And if you don't know, a bundle is where you pull together a bunch of business experts, you choose a specific topic, and mine was for people who have built a business from their job. So from job to CEO, and all of the expert resources that they can provide that they normally provide at a price, they submit to the bundle for free. I had 21 contributors who provided their expert resource that was normally paid for free for 1 week during my bundle. They all then emailed this whole bundle of free resources to all of their email lists. And then everyone who signed up to get your free gift from the business expert was then on that person's email list. This is a way for people to get exposure to their offers, to a new group of people, a new audience that you wouldn't otherwise be able to reach. From that bundle, I promoted my free Skool group as something that people could join if they joined and signed up on my email list. So that boosted my initial numbers so that I could get to 76 members in those 30 days. During the 30 days, I also made my first sale from Skool, which was completely traceable to the activity that I was doing within the community. Like I say, the goal was 100 members in 30 days. I didn't get there, but I did get to 81% engagement result, which means 81% of my 76 members were actively engaged in my group, which is a real win because previously I just had an email list and it was very rare if somebody would reply to an email from an email list. I also tested running meta ads to try and get people into the group. So the ad was come and join my free Skool group, and then I posted that. I spent about, not very much, New Zealand $27. I got 1 person from my ads. 244 visitors from that ad, and then only 1 person converted. So I redid the ad, tried to make it better, tried to make it clearer what the good benefits were from joining the group, and ran it again. I spent New Zealand $34, so big budget boost there. And I got over 1,600 visitors to my Skool group. I mean, amazing, but only 1 person converted. 1 person out of 1,600 people. What did I learn from that experiment? Driving cold traffic to a site without a really compelling reason to join, even if it's free, is hard, despite all my edits to my about page to try and line it up perfectly. I didn't crack it, but at least I knew that my advert definitely worked. 1,600 people coming to visit the Skool group was great. Just, 50% of the equation, because then they didn't convert. So some great lessons there, but also I shared the whole lot in the Skool group. What I did, what worked, the numbers. I also found that if I went quiet on Skool, the community engagement, the membership sign-ups, all slowed down significantly. So if you stop showing up, growth slows. For the second experiment that I ran on Skool, which I still actually have 2 days to go, I focused on posting 3 times every single day across Skool. 1 time in my own community, and then 2 more in different communities. I then tracked every day the members, the conversion rate, the engagement rate, the discovery rank, and every sale that I could attribute to Skool activity. Now, by day 15, the data and my own sense of well-being was telling me it was too much. I was so tapped out from trying to think of what can I post today and what groups am I going to post on? And it had to be something of value. I mean, it's my reputation. If I'm posting something random on somebody else's group, I'm going to be a scammer and then they're going to ban me. It needed to be something that was actually of value for that particular group. It couldn't be just random. So by day 15, I pivoted and I said, right, I'm not doing 3 anymore. I'm doing 2 posts a day, and one of them is in my own group. Now, I'm still 2 days off finishing this 30-day experiment. So the final data for this will be in my Skool group if you want to join. But so far, what it's showing me is that the group has grown from 76 members to 112. 4 of my posts that I posted in other communities were pinned, including 2 in groups of over 13,000 people. And yes, I got some members from those posts. 4 sales were directly attributed to my Skool activity, and 12 members were directly associated with my Skool posting. This particular experiment wasn't really about posting frequency though. It was about what happens when you show up in other groups with value. What is the impact? It showed me that there were 12 directly attributed Skool members that jumped into my group based on the value that I provided in another group. Now that happened within the first 2 weeks. When I dropped down to 2 posts a day across other communities, well, actually technically 1 post a day across other communities because the other one was in mine, that dropped right down again. And what also happened, which probably damaged the experiment a little bit for me, was that I'm also hosting another bundle in June. So some of my posts were about posting to get people that wanted to contribute to my bundle in June. So the quality of what I was posting versus what I was doing in the initial stages was quite different, because basically I was just actively recruiting for people to join my bundle for some of my posts. Whereas at the start of the experiment, I was offering things of value from the experiments I was running, from what was happening in my business, so all aligned to what I was doing, but quite a different concept from recruiting for people to join something. I didn't slack off from the experiment. I did my 2 posts every day. I did my 3 posts every day when I was doing that, but it definitely highlighted to me that trying to do more than one thing is quite tricky when you also have a full-time job. It's hard to keep the level of standard and consistency up. I also discovered that the engagement in my group, so for month 1, it was floating at around 81%. For the second 30-day experiment now, nearly finished, it's between 71 and 77%. And I know full well this is because I can't invest the same amount of time in my own group and engaging with people and posting. So there's definitely been something that I'm taking away from experiment 2. Not to mention that posting every day in someone else's group is exhausting, particularly when you have limited time that you're trying to get it done in. The overwhelming outcome though from all of it was that the majority of people coming into my community were actually from my email list and not from Skool at all. I had finally put a one-liner in my emails and started updating my email funnels that directed people, once they'd signed up for something, to come and join Skool. And that conversion was, well, and you would hope it would be, way better because they'd already signed up for something from me. So you would hope that they also might want to join a free group that was also hosted by me. I also noted that the growth, so the first 30-day experiment, 0 to 76 members, was not as significant in the second experiment because the second experiment went from 76 to 112. But I know that part of this was because I was hosting an April bundle. So I was driving people to my group from the bundle that I was hosting, and there were nearly 600 people to pitch to in that. But it was a brand new Skool group. I hadn't even finished one experiment to be able to show what it would look like and what they would get from the community. So as I am now hosting another bundle in June, I am going to be very interested to see what that conversion rate looks like for people from my bundle then signing up for Skool, given how much more I've got in Skool now. And this is what that experiment format does. It's turning everything that I am trying out in my business into a test with data, not a guess. It also tells me what to keep, what to stop, and what to pivot. None of this is a highlight reel. I am not speaking from a business that's made over 6 figures in 30 days. I am not there. I didn't achieve my first 100 members in 30 days. My meta ad experiment basically flopped. And during all of this, I had a whole week where I didn't make one sale. Because while I was busy tapping out posts all the way across Skool, I also skipped some of my daily sales actions. And my CEO dashboard tracking showed me immediately where the gap was and what the impact was. So this is what this is all about. How I am experimenting, growing a business, and the tools and the resources that I'm using to make this possible while working a full-time job with a family, 2 little kids, and yeah, I'm not finished, but I am sharing the actual build from job to CEO. In October 2025, I had 4 email subscribers. I have grown this to over 850 email subscribers. I hosted my first bundle in April 2026. I got 571 people that grew into my email list. My new Skool community started in April 2026, from 0 to 112 members before the end of May. I had my first 9-day stretch of sales every single day. This is still inconsistent, but it's growing. All of this I built in approximately 15 hours a week, alongside my full-time job, my family, my life, my little kids. So experiment 3 is being shared in my community right now. And this one is going back to YouTube and doing a video a week, sharing about what I'm doing with my experiments. Each one is tied to something that I'm working on right now in my business. Not theory, not here's what worked for me 10 years ago and how I got to 6 figures. This is current, live, with numbers and data. Next week's video will be the 3 numbers that I track every single day. I'll show you exactly what I track in my CEO dashboard and why it's the difference between actually feeling busy and seeing results. Each video is going to connect to something that you can actually use in 30 minutes before work or 2 hours after work when the kids are in bed, because that's my constraint. And pretending that it's not helps nobody. If you want more details, data, updates for each of my 30-day experiments so that you can see, you can test yourself, or just be entertained by what is and what isn't working for my business, come and join us in From Job to CEO, the experiment on Skool. The link's in the description.